Lots of stuff going on with Ryan O'Reilly. Noel Acciari making their presence felt in Toronto today. I should say Tuesday, rather. Tuesday against Buffalo. Hat trick for Ryan O'Reilly. Congratulations. Welcome to the Maple Leafs. Born and raised, returning back to Buffalo, his old stomping grounds, where he made a name for himself. He was also with Colorado before that. So, an excellent, a Conn Smythe aficionado, great player, just an absolute professional. Handles his stuff with authority, with prowess. He can ascertain the game and the defensive sides from not a whole lot of players in a list that he's in. So they decided to go with him, centerman, third line, second liner. Not exactly the type of player that their four big superpowers that they have are going to convey. So they're all going to be scorers. You've got the Nylanders and the Marners of the world, but then you got Ryan O'Reilly, who's going to help a lot. So he's filling in the holes that the Maple Leafs clearly have. He's going to add the defensive offense that I think the third line could also use. Acciari, physicality, important face-offs as well. But against Buffalo, I mean, a huge start to the first period, 4-0, and then the final score was 6-3. Buffalo got 3 in the third period. O'Reilly caps it off with a hat trick. But I don't know if this is going to completely satisfy the Maple Leafs. They might have to look into some defense, some goaltending maybe. I don't know how good Samsonov really is because we don't have a whole lot of a time frame that we can ascertain how well this guy is going to perform in the playoffs due to the small sample size. So we've got that out of the way, okay? Not that they need to have a number one goalie because they have Matt Murray. But I don't think anyone's ambivalent that Samsonov is going to be the starting goalie because he's the only one around. So Matt Murray, we got to figure things out. What are the Maple Leafs going to do? Are they going to make any more moves? Probably not, because I think that they are good enough. Some other teams like the Canucks want to be putting Luke Schenn out on to the market. There's a lot of possible places for him and a lot of possible places for other teams. But that was the first big trade. It happened Friday night. So Toronto wanting to make some noise, wanting to make a splash. But there are going to be a lot of other teams that are going to be trying to make moves. And they're trying to maybe solidify themselves, fill in the holes like Toronto. Vegas, Carolina, teams like that. I don't think that Boston's going to do a whole lot because I don't think they have any holes, to be honest. The Bruins are just riding and gliding through this season. But that's all it really is, and that's all that we can really say. People want to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes as if there's some amazing dynasty, as if they are just so good and they are going to make a huge impact in the playoffs. They're going to go far. They're going to go Eastern Conference Final. They're going to take down the Bruins. They're going to do all of these things. And in the last few years, the Hurricanes have been given a lot of attention, which contradicts their performance when you look at it from the start of the season to the end of the season, whenever they get knocked out of the playoffs. And that is exactly what's been happening to them. I forget last year, but I do know that 2 years ago, they lost to the good old Tampa Bay Lightning in the second round. And I think that the Hurricanes are a good team, but the problem is we shouldn't be saying that they are a team that's on the same level as Tampa or Colorado or some of these other teams that have proven themselves in the playoffs. Because the Hurricanes, all they've been able to do is garner regular season success. That is the degree of their success. So what are we looking at here? Why are we saying that the Hurricanes may be the best regular season team or the Bruins? The Bruins have had success in the past. They went to the finals in 2019. But other than that, they haven't really brought home any hardware. And I'm sure that a lot of these teams, like the Hurricanes and the Bruins and the Rangers, are looking like we got to be able to do something. We got to show something for all of our efforts here. So there will be trades, and we'll be covering that all the way up until March 3rd, when the NHL trade deadline is solidified, and nothing moves after that. For those of you who watch basketball and not hockey, We can't just buy out players and sign them after the trade deadline. This is it. This is a big deal for a lot of teams, and big names don't get moved around a whole lot in hockey. So it's unfortunate. But other than that, moving right into some offseason trades, or some after the trade deadline, could be considered the offseason to general managers, because it's a very different lens that we're looking through here when that is the case. And Russell Westbrook, man. So when I first thought that Westbrook joining the Lakers, I thought that he was going to put this team onto the next level. I'm trying to think back on their championship year in the bubble in 2020. I know they had McGee, they had Avery Bradley, they had probably Quinn Cook, they had Dennis Schroeder, they had Rondo, they had Danny Green, they had was it Markieff Morris? So they had it's a very trivial group of individuals that we're not exactly writing home about. We're not going to be remembering. I can hardly remember who was on that team other than LeBron and AD, because those were the only difference makers. So right away I'm thinking, okay, the Lakers won the championship with only two superstars on the team. They add a third, and Westbrook had been balling out of his mind. Kuzma and Caldwell Pope, they were also on the team because they were in the trade which brought Westbrook over from Washington. So we're looking at this team that's already really good. At least I thought that they were going to be good with Westbrook, because Westbrook was not playing bad, like I was saying, with the Wizards. He was doing really well. And the Wizards weren't terrible with Beal and Westbrook behind them. This was before Porzingis came. So this is crazy, because I just didn't think it was a lose-lose situation here, because the West wasn't either a team that, or a side rather. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the Western Conference, because the Nuggets weren't as good as they were right now. The Grizzlies weren't as good as they were right now. Back in 2020, the Warriors weren't good either. The Mavericks were mediocre. The Jazz were supposed to be good, but I could smell their fraudulent ways and their phony playoff attempts. Just nothing was getting through that Utah team. No disrespect to Gobert and Mitchell, but that team was just too overrated, and they did absolutely nothing. And now they're rebuilding, and they have everybody's first-round picks. So, good luck with them. I love Quinn Snyder, though. It's really hard to see him go. So Westbrook decides to stay in LA. Speaking of the Jazz, doesn't go to Utah. Decides to hook up with his old friend Paul George. So he decided to stay in LA. He probably didn't move. He probably found out he was traded. He was like, all right, I saw this coming. If anything, I should be happy that I was able to stay here longer than I thought I was going to. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Let's go back 4 years. Let's imagine Kawhi on that team, on the Thunder. Let's go back 5 years to 2018. And Kawhi is on the Raptors. He's playing really well. Westbrook, just coming off of a great season in 2016, 2017, and in 2017, 2018. Westbrook was really, really great. Man, automatic Western Conference final if Kawhi, Paul George, and Westbrook were on that OKC team. But what can we realistically say now that we are looking at the Clippers? It's 2023. Westbrook is on the Clippers. What can we really expect from him to do? Now, I see him starting. I'm pretty sure he's going to start. And this kind of comes back to the Lakers as well. I feel like they thought that Westbrook was better off coming off of the bench. Maybe on the stat line it looked better, but in the overall result, it didn't. And there's no credit I can give to Darwin Ham, because they didn't actually succeed whether or not he was on the bench. It's just Westbrook's stat line looked a little bit better. Maybe he was having 23 points a night instead of 15 off the bench. So I don't think Westbrook is to blame for the Lakers' struggles. There's a whole lot more going on with that team, because they still haven't looked like anything amazing. I think D'Angelo Russell is overrated, and Malik Beasley is a great role player, and so is Jared Vanderbilt. So that team has a lot of it's in a better position now that Westbrook and Beverly are out of the equation, but that's not an indictment on Westbrook. I think that he was really, really good. And yes, of course, he's taken a lot of steps back since his MVP year. And that's all we can really judge this off of. Age has consistently followed him in a declining progression. So, as much as I don't really like Ty Lue, and I think he's pretty delusional, I think that he's going to make this work. I think this is a very good opportunity. We got some veteran players, we got some experience, we got a lot of players that they can figure it out together, and I'm pretty sure Westbrook and George's chemistry are going to be a little bit more unified than LeBron's and AD's chemistry with Westbrook. And Kawhi just fits in any way he can. But all of this is to say that I think there's going to be a lot of success with the Clippers, but they're going to have trouble. They're going to have a lot of trouble because they're not very good at exercising high percentage shots. They shoot a lot of threes, and they rely a lot on deep twos as well. They don't get to the rim efficiently, and they don't execute layups. They don't dunk very often. Zubac is the only guy who's a threat in the post. I mean, you're going up against teams that are very well defended, rim protection, things like that. One-on-one defense as well, because why would I need to go to the rim? That's probably what I should do, but that's not what I want to do. That's not what Paul George and Kawhi want to do. Westbrook will do what he can, but I don't know what exactly he'll be able to do. It's going to be interesting to see. I really like his energy that he brings, and that's something that the Lakers did not deserve. They did not deserve all the energy that he brought to the Lakers, which is antithetical to the Lakers' entirety as a team. They have no energy. They have no excitement. They have nothing because they're old and they're slow and they're not going anywhere. Are they better? Perhaps. But they'll make the play-in. They'll probably make the play-in. I don't think it's that hard in the Western Conference to make the play-in because of how close all the teams are. But it's also just as easy to get knocked out of it. Westbrook basketball resumes on Thursday. And we're going to be taking a very close look into everything that happens for the rest of the regular season, because that's what we are here to do.